1983 gave us songs built for slow dances, quiet drives, and moments too tender for words. Today we're counting down the 15 most beautiful songs of that year, the ones that still stop listeners mid-thought decades later. As this countdown climbs, the beauty deepens, and by the end, it becomes unforgettable. 15. Never Gonna Let You Go.
I'm never gonna let you go. I'm gonna hold you in my arms forever.
We opened with a promise whispered rather than shouted. Brazilian musician Sergio Mendes built his career on smooth, bossa nova-infused arrangements, and this romantic duet became one of his biggest crossover hits of the decade. Vocalist Joe Pizzullo delivers the lyrics with unhurried tenderness, letting the melody breathe instead of rushing toward a chorus. There's something almost old-fashioned about its devotion. No dramatic bridge, no desperate plea, just quiet certainty. It became a staple of adult contemporary radio, the kind of song playing softly in the background of a slow dinner or a long car ride home. Listening now, it feels like a warm room on a cold night. It doesn't ask to be remembered loudly. It simply stays patiently, the way real devotion tends to. And from that gentle beginning, the beauty on this list only grows more layered. 14. Faithfully. Written by Jonathan Cain in less than 30 minutes on a tour bus, this ballad became one of the most enduring soft rock songs of the decade, almost by accident. Journey built the track around a simple truth: love strains under distance, under schedules, under the exhaustion of always saying goodbye at an airport gate. Steve Perry's vocal performance carries genuine ache, not performed sentiment, and that honesty is what separates this from countless other power ballads of its era. It peaked in the top 15 of the Hot 100, but its real impact lived in wedding playlists and slow dances for decades afterward. There's a specific kind of beauty in a love song that admits difficulty instead of pretending everything is effortless. This one does exactly that, quietly, without ever raising its voice. And from devotion under strain, the countdown moves toward devotion expressed through simplicity. 13. Straight from the Heart. Bryan Adams didn't actually write this one first, began years earlier for another singer entirely, but his version is the one that found its true home. Recorded with a rougher, more sincere edge than the polished pop surrounding it on the charts, the song reached the top 10 and became one of Adams' defining early hits. What makes it beautiful isn't technical complexity, it's restraint. The lyrics ask for honesty over romance, plainness over poetry, a request that feels almost radical inside a genre often obsessed with grand gestures. Adams' voice, gravelly and unpolished, sells that vulnerability completely. It sounds like someone finally admitting what they actually need, rather than performing what they think love should sound like. That kind of plain-spoken beauty rarely ages, and decades later it still lands with the same unguarded weight. 12. So Bad.
Girl, I love you. Girl, I love you so bad.
Buried inside Paul McCartney's early 80s output is this delicate, bittersweet ballad, one of the most underrated love songs he ever wrote. Backed by Linda McCartney's harmonies and quietly Ringo Starr on drums, the track never became a major hit, yet those who found it rarely forgot it. The melody moves with an aching gentleness, McCartney lobbing high notes across the arrangement, as if the emotion cost him nothing, even though every note suggests otherwise. It's the kind of song built for people who already know heartbreak, who recognize tenderness dressed up as simplicity. Smokey Robinson himself later covered it, drawn to its quiet soulfulness. There's a particular beauty in songs that never demanded fame to earn their place in someone's memory. And this one belongs entirely to that category, a hidden gem that rewards anyone patient enough to sit with it. 11. Say, Say, Say.
Say, say, say what you want, but don't play games.
Two of the biggest names in music joined forces here, and the chemistry is impossible to miss. Paul McCartney and Michael Jackson traded vocals with an easy, playful warmth, turning what could have been a novelty pairing into a genuine #1 hit. The song's charm lives less in its lyrics and more in the sheer joy of hearing two masters harmonize without ego, each one clearly enjoying the other's presence. It became one of the best-selling singles of the year, a reminder of a brief moment when pop's two biggest stars stood shoulder to shoulder rather than in competition. There's a specific kind of beauty in collaboration done right, in artists trusting each other enough to share the spotlight completely. Decades later, knowing how both men's paths would diverge, the song plays almost like a snapshot of a fleeting, irreplaceable friendship. 10. Human Nature. Full of explosive hits sits this quieter, more introspective moment from Michael Jackson. Where much of Thriller demanded movement, this track asked for stillness, built around a delicate synth arrangement and one of Jackson's most tender vocal performances. Co-written by Toto's Steve Porcaro, the lyrics wrestle with vulnerability and self-doubt rather than spectacle, a rare confession from an artist typically associated with larger-than-life production. Yet it remains one of its most beloved among longtime fans and fellow musicians alike. There's real beauty in an artist choosing restraint at the height of his powers, letting a whispered melody carry as much weight as any chart-topping anthem. Listening now, it feels like a private moment accidentally left on the record for everyone to overhear. 9. Uptown Girl.
Been living in her uptown world. I bet she never had a backstreet guy.
Billy Joel wrote this one as a direct, unabashed love letter, and its charm comes from exactly that lack of complication. Inspired by his then-girlfriend, supermodel Christy Brinkley, the song became one of the biggest hits of his career, climbing into the top 10 and staying there for weeks. Musically, it borrows from the doo-wop harmonies of an earlier era, giving it a timeless, almost nostalgic feel even upon release. There's nothing tortured about this love song. No ambiguity, no lingering doubt, just pure, giddy admiration wrapped in an irresistible melody. That simplicity is its own kind of beauty. A reminder that not every great love song needs to carry pain to be worth remembering. Sometimes beauty is just joy, stated plainly and sung with a smile, and this one captures that feeling, as well as any song released that year. 8. Sweet Dreams. Few songs from the year sound as hypnotic as this one. Eurythmics built the track around a minimal, circular synth line and Annie Lennox's commanding, almost otherworldly vocal delivery, creating something that felt both futuristic and strangely timeless. It became the duo's breakthrough hit, reaching #1 and establishing them as one of the era's most distinctive acts. The beauty here isn't warm or comforting in the traditional sense. It's cold, deliberate, mesmerizing. Lennox doesn't plead or beg. She observes, almost detached, delivering lines about desire and searching with an eerie steadiness. That contrast between icy production and raw emotional undertone is what makes the song linger. It doesn't resolve neatly, and it doesn't try to. Sometimes the most beautiful songs are the ones that refuse easy comfort, choosing instead to sit in tension and let the listener figure out what to feel. 7. Flashdance, What a Feeling. Irene Cara turned a movie theme into something far bigger than its film, capturing a specific kind of triumphant, hard-won joy. Written for the movie of the same name, the song became a massive #1 hit and won both the Academy Award and Golden Globe for Best Original Song. What makes it beautiful is its earned optimism. This isn't naive happiness. It's the sound of someone who fought through a real struggle to feel this way. Cara's vocal performance builds with genuine urgency, each verse sounding like another step closer to breaking free. The song became an anthem far beyond its film's audience, adopted by anyone chasing a dream that felt impossibly far away. There's a rare beauty in music that makes ambition itself sound gorgeous, turning determination into something you can dance to. Decades later, that feeling of finally arriving still translates instantly. 6. Africa. Toto built something genuinely strange and beautiful with this track, blending sweeping, cinematic imagery with a rhythm section that somehow feels both urgent and calm. It topped the Billboard Hot 100 in early 1983, becoming one of the defining songs of the year on American radio. The lyrics conjure vivid, almost mythical landscapes, less a literal travelogue, and more an emotional geography of longing and distance. Its layered percussion and soaring chorus created a sound unlike anything else on the charts at the time, equal parts lush and mysterious. There's a particular beauty in a song that refuses full explanation, inviting endless interpretation instead of offering easy answers. Decades of covers, memes, and reverence have only deepened its mystique. It remains one of the most sonically adventurous, genuinely gorgeous recordings to dominate radio that year. 5. Making Love Out of Nothing at All.
Out of nothing at all. Out of nothing at all.
Few power ballads reach the emotional scale of this one. Air Supply built the song around escalating cinematic devotion, each verse raising the stakes until the final chorus arrives like an emotional flood. It became one of the band's biggest hits, peaking at number 2, kept from the top spot only by another song on this very list. Written by Jim Steinman, known for his maximalist approach to love songs, the track doesn't whisper its feelings so much as declare them at full volume, treating romantic devotion like a force capable of creating something from nothing. That grandiosity could feel excessive in lesser hands, but the sincerity underneath keeps it grounded. There's beauty in a song unafraid of its own intensity, one that trusts the listener to feel just as much as it does. Decades later, its emotional peak still lands exactly as hard. 4. True.
Toe to toe, this is the sound.
Spandau Ballet built an entire mood around restraint and longing with this track, letting a single saxophone line do as much emotional work as any lyric. It became one of the defining singles of the New Romantic movement, reaching number 1 and establishing the band as one of the era's most distinctive voices. The lyrics wrestle with the frustrating gap between feeling something deeply and finding the words to actually say it, a universal struggle dressed in smooth, sophisticated production. Tony Hadley's vocal performance stays cool and controlled, even as the emotion underneath clearly isn't, creating a tension that gives the song its lasting appeal. It doesn't need to shout to be devastating. There's real beauty in music that trusts subtlety over spectacle, letting silence and space carry as much meaning as sound. Decades later, that saxophone hook remains instantly recognizable and instantly moving. 3. Islands in the Stream.
Islands in the stream, that is what we are. No one excuse me.
Written by the Bee Gees but transformed entirely by its performers, this duet became one of the most beloved collaborations in music history. Kenny Rogers and Dolly Parton brought an easy, lived-in chemistry to the track, turning what began as a Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell-style demo into a country pop crossover phenomenon. It reached number 1 on both the Hot 100 and the Adult Contemporary chart, a rare feat that speaks to its universal appeal. The beauty here lives entirely in the interplay between the two voices, playful, warm, utterly convincing as two people who have found exactly what they were looking for in each other. There's nothing tortured about this love story, only comfortable, mutual devotion, sung by two artists who clearly enjoyed every second of performing it together. Decades later, it remains one of the most joyfully beautiful duets ever recorded. 2. Total Eclipse of the Heart.
There's nothing I can do, a total eclipse of the heart.
Few songs capture emotional devastation as theatrically and as beautifully as this one. Bonnie Tyler's raspy, powerhouse vocal turns Jim Steinman's sweeping, almost operatic songwriting into something genuinely overwhelming, building from quiet vulnerability into an enormous, cinematic chorus. It reached number 1 on the Hot 100 and became one of the defining power ballads of the entire decade, a title it still holds firmly today. The song doesn't just describe heartbreak, it recreates the physical sensation of it, turning private devastation into something enormous and communal. Tyler's voice, weathered and raw, gives the melodrama real weight rather than letting it collapse into camp. There's a rare beauty in music willing to be this emotionally unguarded, this loud about pain most people prefer to hide. Decades of covers and tributes have only confirmed what listeners knew immediately. This one hits different every single time. 1. Every breath you take.
Every breath you take, and every move you make.
And here it is, the most beautiful song of 1983, though its beauty hides something far darker underneath. The Police built the track around a deceptively simple guitar riff and Sting's smooth, restrained vocal delivery, crafting a melody so gorgeous that millions mistook its lyrics for tenderness rather than obsession. It became the band's biggest hit, spending 8 weeks at #1 and eventually winning the Grammy for Song of the Year. That contradiction is exactly what makes it endure. Surveillance and control, dressed in one of the most elegant melodies ever written. Sting has spoken openly about the unsettling nature of the lyrics, yet audiences continue to embrace it as a romantic staple at weddings worldwide. There's a haunting kind of beauty in that tension, a song that seduces you completely before you notice what it's actually saying. Decades later, it remains inescapable and endlessly hypnotic. 1983 proved that beauty in music doesn't need one single sound. It can be a whispered confession, a triumphant chorus, or a melody hiding something darker underneath. These 15 songs still stop us mid-thought, decades after they first played. Which one moves you the most? Tell us in the comments. And if this list brought back something beautiful like subscribe and stay a while longer,